looking at the muscles around the wrist joint allows us to reintroduce the force length relationship, the muscle force, muscle length relationship. Um, we'll talk about the force length relationship, but just to summarize, right, it's kind of an inverted U relationship where if you have muscles in a very shortened position, they cannot generate as much muscle force because there's not as many um, cross bridges in the sarcomeres connected. If you have a lengthened muscle, again, you cannot form as many cross bridges, so you have low muscle force. And muscles like to function right in the middle, the perfect middle where they have the optimal number of cross bridges. Now, your finger flexors, your flexor digitorum superficialis and profundus, they cross the finger joints, but also the wrist. So when you change your wrist posture, you will change the length and functioning of those muscles. So in the lab we do here in biomechanics, we do the force length test. And if you are in wrist flexion, that puts your muscles, your flexor muscles in a shorter position, so less cross bridges, and you will have less muscle force, or less basically grip strength, right? And you can test this on yourself. If you flex your wrist as much as you can and try to grip a pencil or anything, just make a fist, it will be harder. If you try to make a strong fist or grab something, your wrist will naturally go more into extension to optimize the length of those wrist flexor muscle groups, the profundus and the superficialis. And here we can see it just again on graphs. So just to remind you, this is the typical force length curve. Here's the passive tension, starts to help out in lengthened positions. But basically, when you have a short muscle length, your muscle force or tension is low. At longer muscle lengths, your tension is also low. And then mid optimal length, you have the maximal force production. Looking at this, compressive force on the Y, wrist angle on the X. If you are in 60 degrees of flexion, you are generating low compressive force. And by compressive force, they mean a grip strength. When you are in neutral, your compressive forces have gone higher. And sometimes when you're in a little bit of extension, you can still get even higher. But if you go too much into extension and lengthen these muscles too much, you will decrease that compressive force again. So midway is the max force. If your muscles are too short, you have decreased force. And if they're excessively lengthened, you'll have decreased force.